What's up, everybody? In this week's new video, we're going to show you two brand new species of lizards that we're working with.
And we're going to show you some new setups for the Abronias, the false chameleons, and how we set up those two new species of lizards.
So the first lizard that we want to talk about is actually one of the most underrated animals that I've came across, because honestly I didn't know too much about them before we started, keeping them, and they're the dragon agamas.
Yeah, they come out of South China, the rainforest, and it's pretty cool out there. So they do like an ambient temperature of about like 75 degrees, but they still need a hot spot about 85 to 90 degrees. As you can see, some of these guys are basking right now. There are true arboreal lizard, meaning they like to climb, they like to hang up in the canopies of trees. So like we said up here, we put a lot of foliage on the top. Screen cage, because they do like to climb. They climb all over the screen cage, and also like a cork bark, as I was saying, like this one's hanging out in here. They just love to climb up and down on it all day. Very easy to take care of animal.
Yeah, and the cool thing about these things is that they're kind of hardy. They're not easy to kill. They're very simple to to care for. Like Manny was saying, arboreal cage, higher humidity. They eat insects. And basically they're pretty good with handling. They might run a little bit when you're first gonna grab them, but after you grab them, they'll just hang out on your hand. And these animals, they're very underrated. I didn't know about them until I saw some people, some of the wholesalers that had them. So we decided to try them out. They're very, very cool looking, bright green colors and really cool patterns. And just a really cool animal and something to watch out for.
Yeah, and one other thing that makes them like very manageable is they don't get very big. Like with their tail, which they have a pretty good sized tail, they only get about 9 inches, living up to around 10 years. So, they live a good amount of time. They don't get very big, very easy to take care of, and they're stunning. Those emerald green stripes they just stick out, and very, very stunning animals. All right, our second of the new species that we're working with is the emerald swift.
Yeah, and these guys are kind of common. You might have seen them at your local pet stores or maybe in somebody else's videos or something, but this is actually the first time we will have them available, and they're really, really cool. I've always thought they were some of the most beautiful lizards because their green coloration is just super bright, super vibrant, and their scales are like unlike anything you've ever seen. They're like little spikes that stick out, and the reason they're like that is because these guys, the way they'll kind of like get away from predators is they'll jam themselves into little rocks or into any little hole that they can find, and they kind of stuff themselves in there, and that's going to be hard for somebody to pull it out because the spikes are kind of facing backwards. So it's a really cool lizard. It's also very simple to keep, kind of like the agamas, the dragon agamas. You're going to keep them high humidity. They're arboreal, they eat insects, so not too much to it. Very simple.
Yeah, like David was saying, it's a very, very easy animal to take care of. The biggest issue in captivity really being is the humidity. These guys are sometimes kept kind of dry, and they don't really thrive in those conditions. They're from the cloud forests of Central America, so they're going to need high humidity. That's why we're keeping them in glass. Glass helps hold the humidity. You could also keep them in screen. They will climb around everywhere, but you do need a mist more often if you do keep them in screen. And like you were saying, not a very large lizard. They live about 48 years. They're very sexually dimorphic. The males are emerald green. The females are going to be more dull gray coloration. And when they're born, man, they're just one of the most adorable little lizards around. Very tiny, but also at the same time very, very hardy.
Yeah, and they're super fast lizards, so I don't recommend them for necessarily handling, but they're super fun to watch because they're, insect eaters, so they're going to be out there hunting. They move very quickly, but yeah, very cool little lizards for sure. All right, and lastly, we wanted to show you guys some of the setups that this guy over here made for some of the Abronias that we had outside. As you guys know, we're in Florida, so it's starting to get hot, so we got to start bringing all the Abronias back inside. And Manny went ahead and set up all these animals here. Even the Cuban false chameleons got a remodeling of their home, so we wanted to show you guys off because it's looking super awesome. Manny's out here like 30 minutes a day just staring at the cages. So let's start off with the Abronia. Actually, we can show the little baby Cuban false chameleons.
Yeah, they got an upgrade too. These guys don't need it very hot. Just room temp for the babies and humid. Lots of drinking water. These guys do drink a lot of water. Sometimes when we're spraying some of the adults, they come up right to you and drink right from the hose. So we set all these guys up, and most of them in 12, 18s. We have some of the babies that you guys saw growing up from last year. They're in usually groups of 2 and 3. These guys love cork bark, so we made sure to put a lot of cork bark, a lot of ferns, a lot of sticks, so make sure they can get up and bask, and a lot of stuff to hold the humidity like orchid moss. Orchid moss is our favorite. You can use sphagnum moss, plantation soil, but you know, we've had the most luck with the orchid moss. They love to burrow in it. Down here, all down here, we have some of our breeders that we keep. These guys actually went ahead and got them all bromeliads. In the wild, most of the time, Abronias are actually found hanging around or on bromeliads. They hold water very, very well for days. So if an Abronia is ever thirsty, they'll go in there, get some drinking water. Also, a lot of bugs are attracted to stagnant water, so you can get a meal and a drink at the same time. Again, same thing, a lot of cork bark, a lot of sticks, orchid moss, plantation soil, stuff to hold the humidity, and of course, we're using UVB on every single one of these guys. Our favorites are the high output T5s. They produce a lot of UV, a lot deeper, they last a lot longer, and instead of a bulb that's just one spot UV, this covers the whole width of the cage, which is something that we switched all of our animals to and have had great success with.
Alright, what about the Cuban false?
Ooh, the Cuban false. So the Cuban false chameleons got upgraded. The major difference being, instead of a bare bottom, we did a soil bottom. Why? Because we're having a lot of issues with losing eggs, because the Chameleons, they kind of just lay eggs wherever they want and the eggs can dry up. So now we switched it to this wet soil substrate, and we're having a lot more with the eggs. So if you guys are interested in babies, we actually have babies and plenty of eggs now. And live plants, planted some live plants in here, lots of sticks for them to get up in the UV light and bask. And that's really the major difference with the Chameleons. Actually got it on all of them now. And they also got all more new sticks, brand new cork bark. So these guys are living the good life here.
Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up or a like or whatever you want to call it.
And hit the subscribe button down below if you want to keep up with all of our new content. Also, we have Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you check us out on all those social media platforms. We post individual content on every single one of them. So if you want to keep up to date with anything we keep, make sure you follow us on all that stuff.
And one more thing, don't forget to check out USARK.org. They're the ones who fight for our rights to keep reptiles. So check them out. They have a newsletter where they're gonna, send you all the updates. Even if you just check and make sure, if you just check the headlines and make sure nothing crazy is happening, make sure you sign up. Donate to them every once in a while because they are doing a lot of work for us that keep reptiles. Thank you guys and see you guys next week. Boom.